For most programs, winning 10 games and picking up a bowl victory would be a success, but for Oklahoma, it wasn't. When it comes to last season, this proud program is dwelling on the negative. Its 3 losses are what they remember the most.
You come to Oklahoma, a loss, 2, and definitely 3 is not acceptable. That's not what we want when we're here. You come here to win championships.
Everybody I've talked to, they point to the 3 losses, and they weren't happy about last season.
No, it was very disappointing with those losses. And the bottom line with us is, there's a great number of us that are all back from a year ago. And my question I continue to pose to them is, what are we going to do differently for that not to be the case this year?
Stoops' Sooners were the preseason #1 last season, but finished outside the top 10. Great expectations weren't met, but this spring saw a big reason to feel good about OU's future. Quarterback Landry Jones is back to lead an offense and atone for a subpar stretch run where they lost 2 of its last 3 games. What do you point to in why this offense struggled down the stretch last year?
It was a lack of execution on all parts, offensive line, me, receivers, running back. So it was us as a collective unit going in one direction. We'd have flashes of greatness, but there wasn't a lot of consistency there.
Landry is the leader, but he should have plenty of help. 4 starters return on the Sooners' offensive line. Sure, they lose record-setting wide receiver Ryan Broyles, but the depth chart boasts plenty of talent. You have emerging freshman Trey Matire and veterans Jazz Reynolds and the seemingly go-to veteran in Kenny Stills, who wants to prove these OU targets are better than the group, who caught 1 touchdown pass once Broyles was injured last season.
Being able to see that and, kind of seeing, what I'm going to have to do on my own and, kind of bring the other guys around me was nice. And it's kind of a blessing in disguise, even though that Ryan got hurt. So, it's helped me a lot and, helped me with, what I have to prepare for next year.
The biggest concern on offense will be at running back, where Roy Finch and Brennan Clay received a lot of snaps while starter Dominique Whaley sat out the spring with an ankle injury. A school who usually boasts a clear feature back this time of year is now hoping somebody can step up. How do you feel about that position right now, settling that out for next season?
Yeah, those, Brennan Clay and Roy Finch have played a ton of football here for the last couple of years, so that isn't, I feel just fine.
So Oklahoma's offense knows they have to play better next season. The defense knows they have to as well. The last 2 years, Oklahoma's D weren't even in the top 50 nationally. Usually a hallmark here in Norman. They've struggled the past 2 seasons. So to remedy that this spring, Bob Stoops brought in a new defensive coordinator, his brother Mike Stoops.
Looking back, too many big plays, letting the ball, losing our leverage on the football, getting the ball over the top of us is something we desperately need to correct, and our players have been very conscious of that.
So another Stoops, the return of Landry Jones, plus 14 more starters. OU looks to keep up the tradition as one of the most consistent programs in the country, a program where 10 wins isn't good enough. In Norman, Mike Neighbors for CST Tonight.